This came out of a rice cooker, a machine designed by engineers for one job, and yet a brick, a gluey wallpaper paste brick with a spoon standing up in it like a flag on the moon. Here's the thing. Nobody tells you your rice isn't sticky because you cooked it wrong. It's sticky because of two decisions made before the water even got warm. Today, both of them get fixed. Coming up, the two starches inside every grain and why the variety you buy decides half the outcome. The 10-second rinse that changes everything. Yes, the exact opposite of pasta, the water ratio rule that's been wrong for 100 years, and the fork move that keeps it all fluffy. Inside every grain of rice, there are two starches. Amylose, long, straight chains, think dry spaghetti in a box, tidy, separate, and amylopectin, branched, tangled chains, think fairy lights in a drawer. Amylose grains stay separate when cooked. Amylopectin grabs everything nearby. Every rice on the shelf is a mix of both, and the ratio decides how sticky it wants to be. That ratio is set by the variety, not by you. Long grain rice like basmati and jasmine is high in amylose. It cooks up fluffy almost by default. Short, round grains, sushi rice, pudding rice are amylopectin bombs. They're born sticky. So if you're making a curry with sushi rice, no technique on earth saves you. Step one happens in the shop. So match the rice to the job. Fluffy pilaf, curry, fried rice, long grain, sushi, rice pudding, risotto, short grain, you want the cling. Sticky rice isn't a mistake in half of Asia. It's the point. You can't eat fluffy rice with chopsticks. The failure isn't sticky rice. It's sticky rice you didn't order. Now for the villain you can control. Every grain of rice arrives at your house filthy, not with dirt, with its own starch. Milling machines polish the bran off, grains rattle against each other in bags and trucks for weeks, and all that friction grinds off a fine white powder of free starch that coats every single grain like dust on a road trip. Drop that dusty rice straight into hot water and the dust doesn't wash away, it cooks. It gels instantly into a starch paste between the grains, gluing each one to its neighbors. That's the gluey rice brick, not overcooked rice, perfectly cooked rice, cemented together by powder. You could have rinsed off in 30 seconds. So rinse, cold water, swish the rice with your hand, pour off the milky water, repeat until it runs mostly clear, usually 3 or 4 rounds. You're not washing the rice, you're removing the packaging. That cloudy water is pure glue in waiting, and it belongs down the drain. And yes, I hear you. Last video, I told you rinsing pasta was a crime. Now I'm ordering you to rinse rice. Both are true. Pasta's surface starch is a tool. It's how sauce grips. Rice's surface starch is loose, packing dust that only ever becomes glue. Same starch, different job. Pasta, never rinse. Rice, always rinse. Court adjourned. Quick family announcement. Rice pudding season took Auntie Marge in 2021. She saw the cream, the sugar, the slow simmer, and she dove. Richest rice pudding this family has ever produced. We don't mourn in this house, we drizzle. Crime number 2, stirring. Stirring, simmering rice scrapes starch off every grain and thickens the water into paste. Sound familiar? That's not a bug, that's the entire recipe for risotto. Risotto is stirred for 20 minutes, precisely to release that starch and go creamy. Stir plain rice and you're making risotto by accident, without the cheese or the dignity. Here's the method that works every time, no rice cooker required. Rinsed rice in the pot, measured water will fix the ratio in a second, bring it to a boil, then lid on and heat all the way down. 12 to 15 minutes on the lowest flame. That's it. No stirring, no peeking, the pot does the work. Now the ratio, because 2 cups of water per cup of rice has ruined more dinners than any rule in cooking. Rice only absorbs about equal its volume in water. The rest, that's just covering evaporation, and evaporation depends on your pot and lid, not your rice. 1 cup rice, 1 cup water, plus a splash for what steams off. That's it. And this is why doubling the recipe always goes wrong. Double the rice with the 2-to-1 rule, and you've doubled the extra water too, but evaporation barely changed. All that surplus has nowhere to go except into your grains. They burst, they slump, they merge. It was never your stove, it was the mass. While it cooks, Hands off the lid. Every peak dumps the steam that's cooking. The top layer, the bottom grains sit in water. The top grains only have that steam. Lift the lid twice and you get the classic result. Mush downstairs, crunchy penthouse. The pot needs privacy. Give it 12 minutes. Then the step everyone skips, the rest. Heat off, lid still on, 10 minutes. Right now the bottom grains are wetter than the top ones. Resting lets the moisture migrate until every grain matches. Serve immediately instead and you get wet bottom, chalky top, and people blame the rice. The rice was fine, it just wasn't finished. Last move, fluff with a fork. Gently lift and separate, like tossing a salad. Never stir, never mash with a spoon. Every grain is now a soft little water balloon of gelled starch. Press it and it smears, and you're back to glue at the final step. Walk, lift, done. Same bag of rice, two futures. Rinse, right ratio, lid on, rest, fork. Every grain its own grain. Skip them, the brick. Notice nothing in that list costs money and nothing takes skill. Fluffy rice isn't a talent. It's a checklist. Bonus round. Why does leftover rice turn hard in the fridge? The starch you gelled recrystallizes, as the cool scientists call it, retrogradation. The grains firm up, dry out slightly, and separate. Sounds like a downgrade. It's actually a superpower. Because firm, separate, slightly dry grains are exactly what fried rice needs. Fresh rice hits a hot wok and smears into paste. Day-old rice stays in distinct grains that toast and char at the edges. That's why takeaway fried rice tastes like that. It was never fresh rice. It was yesterday's rice given a second career. So the sticky rice problem was never one problem. It's a variety choice, a 30-second rinse, a mass fix, and 3 kinds of patience. No stirring, no peeking, and a 10-minute rest. Master those, and rice stops being the thing you apologize for and starts being the thing you're quietly smug about. And when it works, when the lid comes off and it's a cloud, not a brick. Remember, it wasn't the rice cooker, the brand, or luck. It was starch, water, and steam, all doing exactly what they were always going to do. You just finally gave them the right instructions. The recap. Pick the right variety, long grain for fluffy. Rinse until the water runs clear. Water roughly 1:1 plus a splash, never blind 2:1. Boil, lid on, lowest heat, no stirring, no peeking. Rest 10 minutes off the heat, fluff with a fork, 6 steps, 0 pounds, perfect rice. Next problem. You make scrambled eggs every week, so why do they keep coming out rubbery, weeping water on the plate like they're sorry about it? Everyone says lower the heat. It's not the heat. Next video. Why your scrambled eggs turn rubbery and the 30 seconds that decide everything. Bring a plate, not a trampoline.